Hi, it's me, your friendly neighborhood gypsy here. Today I'm going to show you how to use a tracer. Now, a lot of you probably already know how to do this, but there are some that don't know how to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick tracing of the snowman, uh, which is a tutorial we're going to be doing here in the very near future. We're going to be doing a paint party with the snowman. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize myself over here so that you can see my full board here, and I'll show you how to do this. It's simple, it's easy. There's several different ways to do tracers. I'm going to show you this way today, but I have another way that I'm going to show you in the next video that I do. But for today, we'll do the simple tracing, show you how to do it, and you can do your own tracings when you get ready to, if you're doing the snowman paint party with me, you can get your tracings done for that, or any other paint parties you do with me in the future, get your tracings done for those. So let me minimize myself. All right, there I am. I'm very tiny now. Right here is 11 by 14. This is an 11 by 14 canvas, by the way, right here. These are the 11 by 14 tracers. Now, this is for the snowman. Like I said, this is for a paint party that we're going to do coming up here Friday the 13th, December 13th. Anyway, you'll see on these tracers when you print them out that there's a dotted line here and there's a dotted line here. What you're going to do is you're going to line up those two dotted lines. Fairly simple, nothing to it. Just lay your tracer down, find your dotted line, just like so. And you see when you line those up that the whole design lines up. See how that lined up? Now if you don't want to do it that way, you can come back here and you can do it this way. And it's still the same thing. It's still all going to line up. So it's up to you how you want to do it. You can either put one sheet on top and the other on the bottom sheet on the bottom, top sheet on top, or top sheet on the bottom sheet on top. However you want to do it. I'm going to do it like this today. We're going to get this all lined up. Almost there. Now, to check your alignment, just lift up the edge of the sheet. Hold down. If it don't look like it's aligned, just adjust it a little. Just give a little tweak there. Just like that. Get you a piece of Scotch tape. Tape one side. Just like that. Come over here and take this other side. Just like that. What you want to try to avoid doing, if you can, is what I just did. See how I bubbled it? See how that's bubbled? To correct that, just lift up. Make sure you're realigned. I'm a little bit off. Of course, they've been telling me I'm off for years, so that's not unusual. But one of the things you want to try to avoid doing when you tape these, besides the bubbling, is you don't want to tape over an area that you're going to trace. You can trace over it, but it makes it a little more difficult. So try to find those areas where you're not going to be tracing over. Now, as you see, we now have our stencil for doing the tracing. Next thing you're going to do is you'll line that stencil up. This is an 11 by 14 stencil. You'll line it up on your board so that you know where it's going to go. Now, one of the best ways to do this is once you get it lined on your board, there's going to be an overlap. There'll be extra paper. Crease that paper. You see how I made that little crease right there? What that'll do for me is when I get ready to put the carbons underneath there, I'll know exactly where my snowman's going to sit at. Crease at the bottom. Kind of gives you this imaginary line that you can work with. Okay, so we have our two creases in there. Now, this is just carbon paper, like you used to use when you would typewrite a letter. Typewriter, I know, it's a primitive, ancient thing that no longer exists. But at one time there were these things that looked just like the keyboard on a computer, except they were called typewriters. You type on them, they get all the way to the end of this roller that the paper was on. Am I going the right way? No, they went this way. And you'd hear it ding. When you heard it ding, you pulled in this little handle, came back over, and you start your next line. Well, when you want to make a copy, because copiers at one time were really expensive and actually really didn't exist at some point, you do a carbon paper. You put a carbon paper in between your sheets of paper and you type and you get a copy of what you were typing. I know, complicated, huh? All these primitive things. What's nice about carbon paper, and you can get this anywhere. You can get this at Office Depot, Office Max. You can get it at Hobby Lobby. You can get it at Michael's. Order it offline somewhere. Carbon paper, you can use it more than once. Now this one here I use for the winter cardinal. I'm going to kind of hold it up a little bit. You might be able to see the cardinal there through the paper. Can you see that cardinal? So anyway, you can use them more than once. You don't have to just use them twice. So what you're going to do with your carbon paper, you're going to lay your carbon paper down on your canvas, face down. You want the black side down. You put that down on your canvas just like that. Then you're going to take your stencil. Remember we did those little creases? So what you're going to do is you're going to take that template for your tracer. You can put it on there, and then you're going to find that crease. Just move it a little bit, find your crease. There's my crease right there. Oh, I moved it too much. Hold on. Okay, there's my crease there. Move it over a little bit. It's a little bit crooked, so I'm just going to square it up. Let's get squared. And there it is. Now, once you have it squared, just keep it from moving. Take a little piece of tape. See, I'm making it move. Shame on me. No. Put a little piece of tape over the edge. This will help keep it from moving. Do it on both sides. Just a little tiny piece of tape. Just make sure you're squared. And throw a little piece of tape right over the edge there. And that'll help keep this from moving. Now, using just a normal pencil, number 2 pencil, what you're going to do is you're going to trace this whole design. So I usually like to start at the top and work my way down. So I'm just going to go right over the lines that are already there. We'll just trace right over them. And if you forget where you traced at, that's okay. You can forget, you just go back over and trace again. Let's go, did I get that band on that hat? I don't know, maybe I need to go do it a second time. It does not hurt to do it a second time at all. Try as much as possible to stay on the line. Now, I've been tattooing almost 49 years now. And part of my job is tracing. Well, a large part of my job is tracing. Tattoo artist basically is a professional tracer that can add art to the tracing. That's basically what we're doing here. We're tracing, and we're going to add art to the tracing. It's not a tattoo, but it is a painting. So now we're going to come around here. I'm going to get his head. Like I said, try as much as possible if you can stay on the line. If you get off the line a little bit, that's okay. That's not a problem. But if you can, stay on the line as much as possible. Especially if you're just starting out doing this sort of thing. You definitely want to try to stay on the line. I had to look up on my upper camera there for a second to make sure I wasn't blocking anything. I have a bad tendency of getting my big head in the way sometimes. Get his carrot nose here. This is going to be a fun painting to do when we do this on Friday the 13th. It'll be a way to chase away the Friday the 13th curse if we do a happy snowman on Friday the 13th. This guy's very sparkly too. We're going to be using some metallic paints when we do this guy. But that's another story for another day. If you haven't signed up yet, I'm going to put a link with this video where you can go sign up to do the snowman with us. Now see where the tracing, where there's not a line right here? If you want to, just make yourself feel a little more confident, just kind of sketch a little line in there where you can see it. And come back over here, come up, and come around and get your tracing done. Like I said, it's real simple to do. All you're doing is just tracing what's already there. Now the next time I do a tracing, I'm going to show you a trick. And this is if you, the trick I'll show you is if you don't have carbon paper. Of course, right now you're asking yourself, well, Gypsy, what is that trick? Well, that trick is yet to be seen. I am going to wait to show you in another video. Right now, we just need to concentrate on the carbon paper tracing. Now, notice that on his arm here, that he is missing this end on this side. It's not a problem. You just bring it down and around. And there we have that end. That's simple. So again, there's a line missing right here. We'll just put a quick sketch right there. We'll come down, we'll sketch that in like so. Then we're going to go like this. Now notice that the scarf actually goes off the page. That too is okay. It's kind of artistic. It kind of, what it does is it carries your design past the point of just being on the paper. Look at most great artworks. Most great artworks go past the point of just being on the paper. Oops, I moved a little bit there. Let's get us back in place. Anyway, goes past the point of just being on the paper. So, that's okay. It takes your artwork into infinity and beyond. See, I went a little bit off the line there, but it's not a problem. It really is not a problem. Hold your paper down as you're doing this, even though you tape the sides over there. Just hold the paper down. That way you don't get off track any. And if you do get off track, don't worry about it. You'll have enough of the tracing down and where most of it goes to where it won't matter if it's off track a little bit. You'll be able to fill in those gaps. Now I'm going to come here and I'm going to do this broadside. I'm going to try and do this in one stroke. That's anytime you have a really long line, I'd suggest, if you possibly can, doing it in one long stroke. If you do it in short strokes like this, you kind of get off a little bit where you're going. If you do it in one broad stroke, you keep a consistent line. We use this trick in tattooing too, to do one broad stroke wherever possible so that we don't have a jagged kind of uneven line going on. Two hardest things in tattooing to do are circles and straight lines. And so anytime I do a circle or a straight line, I try as much as possible to get most of it done in one pass. If I can't get it done in one pass, oh well, but I try as much as possible. See, I went off a little bit right there, but I'm not going to worry about that. And once you think you're done, kind of give it a look over. You should be able to see your pencil lines. You can see pencil lines in here. If it looks like you got all your pencil lines done, then at that time, lift up your carbons. And there's your stencil. Now notice the bottom of the scarf isn't here. If you want to feel comfortable about that, you can just go in here with your pencil and do a little sketch there. There's the bottom of the scarf right there. If you see anything that you think needs darkened, just come up here and darken it with your pencil. Come on in and just use your pencil lightly on the canvas. Don't press down. You really don't want to press down. It's called a sketch for a reason. So there, I'm going to darken up his mouth a little bit. And I feel pretty confident with that. That is a good tracing right there. We can definitely work with that tracing. Oh, look here. See right here? Miss the side of his face. But not anymore. Now he's got the side of his face. Anyway, that is how you do a tracing using carbon paper and template. Now, as I said, the next time, and let me bring this up here so that you can see my pretty face a little bit better. Whee! It's like a strange carnival ride. Anyway, the next time I do a video on tracing, I'm going to show you a cool trick, really cool trick to use if you do not have carbon paper. There's a lot of things, a lot of ways to do tracings. There's sublimation, which that's a whole nother topic altogether. There's just, you can use a what I call a light box. It's a projector where you can project up, you know, put your tracing down under the projector and project on your canvas and do it that way. There's a lot of different ways to do tracings. The way I'm going to show you how to do a tracing goes back to the roots of my tattooing career and how basically we used to do our stencils at one time. But we'll talk about that in the next video, so you'll have to be waiting for that video to come up. Until that time, however, this is your friendly neighborhood gypsy saying, please make sure you paint with me on Friday, December 13th at 7 p.m. Central Time. There's a link in this video, in the posting of the video, not in the video itself, but there's a link in the posting of the video. Click on that link and come paint with me. I would enjoy seeing you there. But until next time, this is your friendly neighborhood gypsy saying, see you later, Gators. Hustle a beast, baby.